Morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media. I'm Sharon Leah Sang, Director of Public Affairs, Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and I welcome you again to one of our daily press briefings. Captain Alexander is on an operation, so won't be here today. So I will have to hold the fort. The Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, along with the Trinidad and Tobago Defense Force and the other arms of the protective services involved in the fight against crime, continue to work assiduously to ensure the safety and security of the national community. To date, we have taken 131 firearms off the streets and recovered 12,502 assorted ammunitions and 31 magazines. Now I'll give you an update on what is receiving the attention of the police. In Southwestern Division, around 8:40 p.m. on Monday, the 17th of October, officers of the Orapooch Police Station were on mobile patrol when they attempted to stop a gray Mitsubishi Lancer motor vehicle driving along Pond Street in Laramie. The driver exited the vehicle and began running. A chase ensued, but unfortunately he was not held. A check was made of the vehicle, and a homemade shotgun with 8 12-gauge cartridges was found on the passenger seat. The driver of the vehicle is known to the police, and Constable Smith is in continuing inquiries. There was a report of a shooting in Pinal District. Around 10:10 p.m. last night, a fisherman who was returning to his home at Quarry Road, Morne Diablo, upon entering his yard, observed a man walking towards his vehicle with an object which appeared to be a firearm and ordered him out of the vehicle. The fisherman then moved his car into reverse and reversed out of the yard, and on doing so, heard 2 loud explosions. He contacted the police, who visited and processed the scene. Damages were observed to the vehicle that they are consistent with gunshots. Constable Bahadur is continuing inquiries. The Commissioner of Police wishes to reiterate that during the state of emergency, there shall be no displaying of fireworks. Remember last week, I quoted the sections of the Act which describes explosive and fireworks and the conditions that it can't be used at this point in time. So we're reminding the public, no displaying of fireworks, no fireworks display at any event as well or function. In the Northeastern Division, we advise the public that there is a tree that has fallen across the roadway, the North Coast Road, going up to Maracas in the vicinity of the lookout. Workers from the Regional Corporation and the Ministry of Works are presently on the scene and are trying to rectify this situation by removing the tree from across the roadway sometime by midday today. We caution and remind the public to please be careful, and there's a number of landslides still in the area due to the inclement weather, so we're asking you all to be very careful along the road again. I'll give you all the statistics now. Total arrested for the period October 17th to today, October 18th, 39. 20 of those are drug offenses, 4 of those breach of curfew, 2 other offenses, serious offenses 5, outstanding warrants 3, inquiries 3, traffic offenses 2, no fixed penalty notices. Okay, I'd now like to open the floor for any questions that you may ask that I can answer.
This no displaying of fireworks, is that in curfew areas or in the entire country?
Well, it's for this state of the emergency. The entire country is under a state of emergency.
I'm just asking in context that because there were reports that persons in areas that are not on a curfew were actually displaying fireworks, and that's why I asked the question in that context.
Well, the as far as I believe, I don't have the regulations in front of me, but it wasn't specific to areas under curfew. It spoke specifically to a state of emergency, and it gave some description as to the types of explosive and what constitutes explosive. I think it was in the Trinidad and Tobago Act. I think it's 1602, if I recall. So it was quite clear. It didn't mention anything about, which area is under curfew.
And if a person is found displaying fireworks, what are the penalties for that?
Well, that I'll have to read the Act and give you some details. I don't have that in front of me. But of course, I did quote the section, and you all are free to go and visit the laws of Trinidad and Tobago and ascertain the information on your own.
You said 4 people were arrested for breach of curfew. What are the charges with breach of curfew? I mean, are you allowed to get bail?
Generally, under the SOE, you're supposed to go to a magistrate, if memory serves me correctly, and the magistrate is the one who effects the bail.
How did Sturgeon get bail?
Well, that's a question that we will all like to know. So an investigation has been launched into that. It's receiving our attention, close attention.
In addition to that, how many cases are currently before the fraud squad?
Thousands.
And how many cases have been solved or are closer to being solved because of the current state of emergency?
Well, I think investigations really have a lot to do with information that is brought that is required, that is collected when you're conducting inquiries. So I would assume that a lot of information is being brought to bear right now in terms of the confidence that the public has in the police, in terms of us, the public partnering with us in this fight against crime. So we're looking forward to some additional improvements in our solvency rates.
There have been many arrests made, many places. Search. Police have power of search and seizure.
Mm-hmm.
What prevents police officers, if they can break down the homes of residents and search their homes, what prevents the police from searching private offices, going through computers and files and so forth, to get information?
What prevents? Well, I think police act on information, any sort of investigations that they're conducting. So therefore, they would have just cause or reason in which they would decide that they would go to a particular place, business place, office, or home to carry out a search and seizure. So it really depends on the type of the investigation that they're conducting, the information that they're trying to ascertain, and the information that they're looking to acquire. There's a lot of supposeds that would take into consideration, would depend on where they want to go, what they're trying to do, and the crime that they're trying to solve. So you're asking me to kind of crystal ball gaze here, and I don't have a ball in front of me.
Ms. Liasang, in the past, other persons have been granted bail at the police station for various offenses prior to the state of emergency and some during the state of emergency. Why is the case of Sturgeon given this special treatment, if I were to use those words?
Well, that's why I said that how we are also looking into that investigation. We're trying to determine what...
But why is there investigation into Sturgeon being granted bail for an offense that other people have been granted bail for?
Well, as I said before, there's a lot of things that are being said about that particular situation, so we need to get some clarity in actually what took place. So it's not to say that we're investigating. We just need to know what happened so that we can know what took place.
But if it's a routine thing, then why
well, I wouldn't consider it routine, you know.
Because he's not the first person that I know of who was granted bail for breach of curfew under the state of emergency. So why? All
I'm saying is that there is a procedure that is supposed to be carried out, and if the procedure...
Could you elaborate on what's the procedure?
I don't have that information in front of me, but I was told that there is a procedure that must be carried out. If the procedure has not been done, it is incumbent upon us to find out why.
So the procedure was breached?
If the
investigation is going
if the procedure was not carried out as it's supposed to be, it is incumbent upon us to find out why.
So I'll take that as a yes, the procedure was breached.
As I said before, if the procedure that's supposed to be carried out was not done, it is incumbent upon us to find out why. That's all.
Yes, ma'am. Somewhat of a follow-up to my friend's question here, but within a wider scope. Before the actual state of emergency and curfew was implemented, one would think that the police should have gathered the intelligence, done their undercover work, and therefore, when the SOV and curfew was called, they would be able to go out there and take down everybody, from the small fish to the big fish. And again, A lot of citizens are saying is only the small and mid-level players are being taken down, but the big fish is not being taken down. Isn't this a failure then of the police in terms of properly executing the SOE in the first place?
Well, no. To answer
Why?
your question, the police continuously conducts investigation into matters that receive their attention. There seems to be a continuous voice coming from the public about a big fish, a small fish, and a medium fish. There are a number of players in crime, whether they're big, small, medium, or large, and it is the job of the police in order to investigate and find that information and bring the perpetrators of crime to justice. Whether there is some concern that maybe we don't have enough information, our work is ongoing. Our investigations continue long after the SOE, long before the SOE, and will continue even during the state of the emergency. But at the end of the day, police are committed to a job that they have sworn an oath to do, and they will do so to the best of their ability.
On the Stern John matter, when did an investigation begin into this particular case?
Well, I think it's only recently that occurred, so it only had to be recent. It couldn't be last week.
But
Only
when
recent.
is there any timeline as to when the investigation might be completed?
No, I can't say.
How do you respond to allegations that despite the SOE and curfew, there's still problems? Police officers, rogue police officers, being involved in the drug trade, they're still controlling the drug blocks and what have you, and the drug trade is still being conducted.
Well, these are allegations that we've been hearing for some time now, and we always continuously invite the public that if you have any information that can point to a thing, bring it to us so that we can do that investigation and finally rid the service of any officer that is found to be involved in drug or any type of rogue activity. The Commissioner of Police and the Executive of Police of the service frowns upon any type of activity of any officer, because at the end of the day, we are the public's last hope in terms of protection, in terms of dealing with the criminal element out there in society. So therefore, we have to uphold our motto. We have to uphold our mandate and work towards ensuring that the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago are safe. So therefore, if the public, and I throw it out to the public once again, if the public has any information, there are a series of numbers that they can call, and I will call them out. 800-0699, 800-0700, 800-8833, and 555, and 800-TIPS to provide us with any information that they feel that would help us to rid the service once and for all of any of those rogue elements. And with that, I will thank you
Ms.
for your
Liason,
questions.
three quick questions.
I get
Before we
it.
go, three quick questions. One is on behalf of our bloggers.
Of who?
Our bloggers.
Okay.
They are querying the, trying to put this as delicately as possible. You're not a police officer, and therefore you're speaking on behalf of police as the Director of Public Relations. So the query is how or why are you, civilian, giving information on behalf of the police service?
Well, actually,
Are you
we
in a
have.
position to not, quote unquote, give information on behalf of the police service?
Actually, I wouldn't take it personally. In November last year, we held a stakeholders workshop inviting the media to participate with us so that we can develop a public information policy, because we felt that the media are our conduit in which we can get information out to the national community. So we met with several representatives from the various media, and you all indicated that you have problems getting information and you would welcome the opportunity to have a closer interaction with the police. Hence, our daily press briefing. One of the things that we try to do is also have a police officer deliver that information, because there's a certain level of authority and respect and trust that you get from a uniform other than a Tahari suit. So therefore, we took it upon ourselves to actually begin to train a police officer to provide that information. Ms. Archie is the person that has been identified She has a long-standing history with the police. She's also been involved in a number of high-level investigations, and she's the real thing. She has not been well, and because of the fact that she has not been well, I've had to step in. I don't mind, but I really have a lot more other work that I need to do. In the interim, of course, we've been trying to identify another police officer. Actually, ideally, the public information officers should have an officer assigned to each one of our 9 divisions. We haven't reached to that level as yet, but in the interim, we saw it important that we communicate information about developments that are taking place within the service to the national community. So I'm just here as a stand-in.
I'm just piggybacking on that. Wasn't Miss Corporal, I can't remember your surname, please forgive me, the replacement for Miss Archie, or the
No, she is
next to Miss Archie?
no.
No?
Natasha, you mean? No, Natasha is not the replacement for Miss Archie. There's no replacement for Miss Archie. She's irreplaceable.
And, the last question from me. On Friday, 7 people were given the go-ahead for the anti-gang legislation. What did the police do differently in that case that warranted the continuation of that matter whilst 137, 141, 4 from yesterday, were free?
You're going to have to get that information from the office of the DPP. All right, that brings us to the end of that. No. That brings us to the end. We'll be back here tomorrow, same times at 11 o'clock. No. Hopefully. No. We have to. No. We have to end. We got to. You all said 3 questions, and this is the last one. On behalf, tomorrow I will be here. On behalf of the Commissioner of Police and the other arms of the Protective Services, we extend our heartfelt thank you to members of the public for bringing your information and providing us with your continued support and assistance in bringing the perpetrators of crime and the criminal elements to justice. We assure you that all arms of the Protective Services are working extremely well together and utilizing a collaborative approach to bring law and order back to Trinidad and Tobago. We remind the law-abiding citizens that they need not fear. The activities of the police and the other arms of the Protective Services are aimed at those persons intent on breaking the law. We urge you again to use our numbers. Call the numbers 800-0699, 800-0700, 800-8833, and 555 and 800-TIPS to partner with us and share your information. We thank you for your continued support. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you all tomorrow at 11.